Men over 50 who chase sex won't do this or don't do this. We're going to dive into this today. So, what is it about men who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s that operate a little bit different than those in their 20s and 30s? We're going to expand upon this because the fact of the matter is, when a man is chasing sex, he isn't doing what I'm about to share with you. But what's unique about men in their 50s and 60s, it's a little bit different. So here's the answer to the question. Men who chase sex are not evaluating you as a life partner. Bum, bum, bum. They're not evaluating you as a life partner. You see, there's a couple different types of men in the dating marketplace. And ladies, I recognize that it is very frustrating times out there. We have a significant population of both men and women alike who are emotionally wounded, emotionally dysfunctional. And because of this, their motivation, their motives for why they're in the dating marketplace is radically different from one person to the next. And here's the thing, while I genuinely believe that most men are good people, just like most women are good people, not everyone is altruistic. Not everyone is looking out for your best interest. Breathe that in for a second. Not everyone is looking out for your best interest. This is why you have to be in charge of your relationship destiny. Whether you're a man or woman, don't give that power away to another human being. I know we've been indoctrinated that men are the provider protectors and men must climb to the highest tower of the tallest room in the highest tower. Men are the leaders of the relationship. Women must submit to men. The hierarchy is God, man, and his woman below him. That's a lot of rhetoric and narrative out there. I'm just simply here to say, for the ladies who are listening to this right now, you are in charge of your relationship destiny. Don't give that to a man. So, men who chase sex aren't evaluating you. And I'm going to share with you the type of men who are what they are looking for when they're evaluating a life partner. Breathe that in. What are men looking for when they're evaluating a life partner? You see, what's interesting is men in their 20s and 30s, once they've gotten a little bit of their sexual fill and they've decided they want to get married and start a family with someone, these men actually evaluate women radically different than those men in their 40s, 50s, and even 60s. And this is really critical stuff. So we're going to dive into this, okay? You see, when a man is in the evaluating of who he's going to want to make children with, he operates completely differently. He's evaluating you. The problem with the men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s is roughly 75% of singles over 45 years are divorced. And with divorce comes an emotionally traumatic experience for both men and women alike. And this emotionally traumatic experience oftentimes significantly wounds a person. In fact, I'm sure there's studies been done. I haven't heard specifically, but I'm sure this has been done, that divorce can be the equivalent of PTSD. It can be a very emotionally traumatic experience, whether you are a man or a woman. And because of this, we have a significant population of human beings who are rather wounded out in the marketplace. And guess what they are seeking? See, men who chase sex aren't evaluating you. The type of men that I'm going to talk about in a moment are called grower builders. These men want a significant life partner. It's that group of men in the middle here. See, the men who want sex, they just want to use you. Some people want to use you for sex. Sometimes some men use you for money or other reasons, but they are users. They have a manipulative nature within themselves. And oftentimes these are equally broken men to the population that I'm talking about in the middle. And guess what broken men are looking for? See, they're not evaluating you for a full-term committed relationship. You know what broken men are committed to or looking for? They're looking for you to become his therapist on an unconscious level. You literally operate as his therapist. Many of you have witnessed this. In fact, many of you have bonded with a man through your own traumas because in many cases, ladies, you've needed a therapist along the way. And we have a lot of pseudo psychologists out in the marketplace today because of TikTok and shorts and reels and that sort of thing. Because it doesn't replace the real need to heal from our wounds. Let me repeat that, to heal from our wounds. And it's not just the wounds of divorce, it's also the childhood wounds that we've all experienced that might give us an anxious love attachment style, that might give us a fearful avoidant attachment style, that might give us a dismissive attachment style. See, while they claim 50% of the population has a secure attachment style, I completely disagree with that. I would venture to say most people have an insecure attachment style. Some are just closer to secure than insecure. And depending on how significant the childhood trauma is from their parenting could directly affect how they operate in a relationship, how they make that choice to evaluate another human being. If you haven't read the book, The Hoffman Process, by the way, all the books I recommend are listed below in Jonathan Recommend Books. Read The Hoffman Process. This is a deep dive into healing your own childhood wounds that cause negative patterns and limiting beliefs in your life. Ladies, there's an equal percentage of the population of wounded women out there, just like there are wounded men. We all need love. We all need healing. It is imperative. And as I said in the beginning of this broadcast, good men exist. Men aren't intentionally trying to hurt you. It's just that some men are so radically unconscious. And then there's a significant percentage of men who have a mental illness, that have a significant emotional mental illness or emotional and mental illness that cause them to act in a radically manipulative ways. You've heard about these people. They're called narcissists, sociopaths, borderline bipolar. Now, let me just say this about those that are borderline or bipolar, or all of the different mental illnesses. They, to some degree, deserve healing. There's no doubt about it. But after many of them have repeatedly hurt people, it's time that we take ownership of our actions. Everyone here, I'm inviting you to look in the mirror and take ownership of your own actions, how you might have operated in past relationships. So guess what men do that evaluate you? They operate differently. They're not chasing sex. Now, I'm a single man out in the dating marketplace. I will tell you that I have sex on the brain. It's part of the reason why I want to mate with somebody. So it's not to suggest that it isn't on the brain, but it's not leading the process. If a man is looking for a life partner, he's evaluating you on basically these 9 or 10 things I'm about to share with you. So write this down. I'm going to give you 10. Write this down. And just for the record, I did a chat GPT to come up with these, okay? So the first thing is emotional connection. Men who are emotionally grown up, men who are emotionally mature, men who have good relationship skills are seeking an emotional connection. They're seeking a heart on to go with their heart on. Not that it gets that high, but let's say that high. They are looking for a heart on to go with their heart on. Yes, an emotional connection is what they seek. Now, the second thing, and this again is in no particular order, but it's important to have shared interests and shared hobbies. By the way, social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, this is how we build the deep roots of trust in a relationship, is through the interacting of things or with people. But Jonathan, I'm in a long distance relationship and all we do is text each other all day long, and we're texting each other how wonderful we are and how much we love each other. And it isn't amazing how much we can connect with one another. And then we have to know, how's our day going? Did you have a good day? I hope you had a good day. Folks, if you are engaged in a long distance dating dynamic, many of you either spend more time on texting, telephone calls, or FaceTime, and not enough genuine face-to-face time to build the deep layers of trust. Trust is built through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills both in your personal and your professional life, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy. And men who are emotionally grown up, those grower builders, they're not chasing long distance relationships. Long distance relationships are predominantly for people who are wounded and they just want company, predominantly speaking. I'm not saying all the time, because I've certainly engaged in long distance dating dynamics. And the few times that I have, it turned into a relationship for at least a brief period of time. Number 3, part of social activities, hobbies, mutual interest is to have that companionship and friendship in your life. Men who are not chasing sex, men who are not evaluating a life partner, because men who chase sex are not evaluating you as a life partner. They just want to get laid. And maybe it'll turn into something. Just like a broken clock, when a guy is chasing sex, 2 out of every 24 times it turns into some potential relationship. And most of the time it's just a notch on his belt. But it's because those men who are serious are seeking companionship and friendship. Now, the more intellectual the man, he's seeking number 4, mental stimulation. You've heard this phrase before, sapiosexual. Nowadays, the real turn on is to be mentally stimulated by your partner. Now, I know a lot of people are more activity based and they're more, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But genuine grower builder men, not those users, not those spenders, not those men that treat you as a placeholder, not those men that are just seeking you as their therapist. A grower builder wants that mental stimulation. And he's evaluating you from that perspective. And ladies, you're doing everything I'm sharing. You're doing the same as well. So if a man is watching this, guys, women are evaluating you from an emotional connection, from shared interest and hobbies, companionship, friendship, mental stimulation. And number 5, health and well-being. These are gigantic priorities for people today. I would say to you, and I live in Los Angeles, I'm going to tell you something. Some of the women out there, their highest value is health and well-being. And I mean, it's a high value for me. It's not 100%. It's about 80%. I do occasionally eat processed foods, and I do occasionally eat carbs. It's my guilty pleasure. Oh, I forgot. I have potato chips. I hide it from myself because it's my guilty pleasure. But health and well-being is radically important. Number 6, a sense of purpose or fulfillment. We're not, by the way, men who are grower builders, they're not seeking somebody who's to be their submissive partner. Only controlling men seek a submissive partner. We men that are grower builders, we're seeking that woman who has a sense of purpose, a sense of fulfillment. And ladies, everything I'm sharing, or to the men watching this, everything I'm sharing, women are looking at for the same things. And number 7, spirituality and personal growth. Look, you can't turn on a social media post without some level of spirituality and personal growth. And if relationships that don't have a foundation on spirituality and personal growth, they oftentimes are built on a very weak foundation, because when you have a spiritual connection, when you have a personal growth connection, you build the deep roots of trust that bond the two of you together. And number 8, I said this earlier, family and even legacy. To some degree, for those of us in midlife over 50, the days in front of us are shorter than the days behind us. To some degree, being connected with a partner is to have some level of family and legacy, to have somebody to be there for you and to connect with the roots of their relationship. This is one of the most difficult aspects of midlife folks, is that capacity to blend their families together. In fact, partially because there's a lot of negativity amongst family members. There's a lot of unhealed family members out there beating up on each other, and it just bleeds into every other relationship. As I said, I didn't say this earlier, but let me just say this. Dating and relationships is not for the faint of heart. It almost requires ninja level skills. In fact, if you haven't read the book, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, I highly recommend reading this book. We have a significant population that communicates in a very confrontational, judgmental, righteous way. I'm just here to drop, by the way, my specific area of expertise is just to use the dating and relationship conversation to encourage personal development, self-help, and spiritual work, to encourage what I call self-love. Which my book, What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? A Journey of Personal Development, Self-Help, and Spiritual Work. By the way, links below to get a copy of my book. The next two, number 9, and then we're going to have 10, and then we'll take it, we'll open it up. Stability and security. At this age, we are seeking some level of stability and security. Whether you're a man or a woman, we need to feel like this person is a stable force in our life, that they're going to be there for us, because guess what? Getting sick is part of the aging process. And we want to know that we built, we're evaluating based on that. Ladies, I've heard this from you before, and men, just so you're aware of this, women say, I don't want to be a nurse and I don't want to be a purse. And it's understandable, but yet at the same time, what's the point? Because this is just the fact of life, particularly if you're in your 60s or even 70s. It's part of it's the risk we take. In my last significant relationship, there was a potential that she might have had a significant health issue. And I said, you know what? I didn't care. I felt that deeply for that person that I didn't care. And I'm just here to say that genuine love isn't being there for all the good times. Genuine love is wiping the vomit off of someone's face when they're going through chemotherapy. And just be aware of that. And number 10, adventure and new experiences is what we long for in midlife. It's that, that bucket list kind of thing. It's that experience of wanting to play with someone. We did all the heavy lifting when we were younger, raising children, working, and now it's time for that play. That adventure, new experiences, that's what men and women alike crave for. So when you're in the dating marketplace, what I teach in my private coaching, by the way, there's a link below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. My whole area of expertise is to help you evaluate who's the right person for you, asking those radically honest questions as early as you possibly can, so you're not investing based on that physical component of attraction and sex, and you're actually evaluating from a compatibility perspective. If you haven't read the book, the founder of eHarmony wrote a book called 2 Dates or Less. It's the idea of actually evaluating a person in 2 dates or less. Now, I'm not saying I love this book, but it's worth taking a read, because his philosophy was you take compatibility and ignite it with chemistry, and you have a greater chance of relationship success. And I subscribe to that as well. So again, I individualize my work with the clients. We prepare the radically honest questions based on your personality. And that's something I can help you with as well. So again, check out the links below to schedule a discovery call with me and see if working with a coach is right for you. So just to remind you, men who chase sex don't do this. They're not evaluating you. And just remember, users, they're usually chasing sex or money. Spenders, that I call them, they're broken people that just need a therapist in most cases. They want that companionship. They want that connection. They want sex, but they mostly just want you for therapy. And the grower builders, they're seeking you on these 10 things I shared with you, and I'll repeat them all really quickly. Emotional connection, shared interest and hobbies, companionship and friendship, mental stimulation, health and well-being, sense of purpose and fulfillment, spirituality or personal growth, family and legacy, stability and security, and lastly, adventure. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. In fact, if this did resonate with you, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos, and go to your phone and hit that notification bell as well. And lastly, if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to get all the books I recommend and to get my dating vows and to connect with me on social media, all listed below.